On the 11th of September 2014, William and his sister were picked up earlier than usual from daycare and taken on a 4-hour trip to their grandmother's house in Kendal, New South Wales. There it is alleged that on the following morning, William Tyrrell, aged 3, went missing from his grandmother's home in Kendal, New South Wales on the 12th of September 2014. The foster mother describes that when she woke, she opened the sliding door and went out onto the balcony. This is where she first saw the 2 cars on Benaroon Drive, and she thought it odd and wondered why they were parked there. The foster mother went back inside, where they planned the day's activities, which included the foster father having to go into town to get better reception for his online meeting.
And the events of the morning take over in terms of breakfast and getting dressed and all those sorts of things.
William, his sister and foster mother went outside to explore the grandmother's backyard. While playing with William in the yard later that morning, the foster mother explains how she noticed that the 2 cars were still parked in the street.
And the next time I saw those cars, William and I were playing.
According to the foster mother's description of the 2 cars that were first seen from the balcony, and then later in the morning when playing with William in the yard, it becomes obvious that these 2 cars had been on the street for quite some time. So the first sighting of the 2 cars is obviously earlier than her phone call to the washing machine mechanic, earlier than dressing William into his Spider-Man's outfit, earlier than breakfast, showers, or whatever else transpired before taking William and his sister to play in the yard. Just how long had these 2 cars been parked on the street? This isn't a short span of time being referred to here. It was a Friday morning, people going to work, school drop-offs, neighbours going about their business, and the foster father off into town, and yet it appears that, by all accounts, the foster mother had been the only one to see these 2 cars parked on Benaroon Drive. The information about the 2 cars was withheld from the public until 12 months after William's disappearance.
They had been racing their bikes up and down the driveway. Margaret and Jane were watching on, and then Lindsay suddenly stopped in the middle of the driveway because she saw a car that had driven past, and her and Jane both took note of that car. Jane talks about this in her police statement.
Lindsay said, "Who's that car, Mummy?" I looked out onto the road and saw a dark grey sedan drive past Mum's house, up Benaroon Drive, towards the Miller's house next door. The car just nosed into the Miller's driveway and then backed out of the driveway. I said to Lindsay, "I don't know, probably the neighbour." I said that because I thought that the Millers were home, and I think they have a car that is sort of similar to that. The last time I saw the car was when it had turned around in the Miller's driveway and had literally just started driving back down the street. The car looked like it was driving with a purpose, as opposed to slowly driving along like someone was looking for something. I would have seen the car for less than 10 seconds from when I first saw it until I last saw it. I can't remember whether the windows were down. I couldn't see any of the occupants. But this time I turned my attention back towards Lindsay riding the bike.
The foster mother was unsure if the window of the car was down, but she stated that she couldn't see any of the occupants.
She told the inquest how she saw a mysterious car in the street just minutes before William vanished, and how she locked eyes with the driver. "I can still see him in the car," she said. "He had a thick neck, a big man, and his late 50s, who had a weathered look."
We are given two different stories about the one car. So according to the foster mother, at least 3 cars were seen in the vicinity of the grandmother's house on the morning William went missing. Have any of these drivers come forward to eliminate themselves as suspects? When prompted by the Tyrrell receptionist's question if anyone suspicious or any vehicles had been hanging around the area, the foster mother's response was a decisive no, not that I'm aware of.
What's his name?
William.
So what's William's surname?
Tyrrell, Tyrrell.
Okay, has he been known to sort of go anywhere?
No, this is the first time.
The first time
completely out of character.
There wasn't anyone suspicious in the area, any vehicles?
No. Well, not that I'm aware of. I was out there talking with Mum and my other daughters.
It is understandable in any crisis situation that important facts may escape your memory, but when you are prompted to recall with a direct question, and the Tyrrell operator clearly did that, and you still answer with a definitive no, not that I am aware of, I can only conclude that these vehicles may have been added later. If the cars weren't there, then the whole story simply falls apart. And if they were, it is difficult to understand why a 3-year-old child was left to wander about in such suspicious circumstances. By all accounts, there is no concrete evidence to prove that these cars even existed, but if they did, why were they facing towards a dead-end street rather than to be in readiness for a quick escape? Why were they loitering about for so long without any concern about being seen, especially if their intention was to commit such a dreadful crime as to abduct a child or both children, as the foster mother suggests?